Hi there, my name is Miguel Gonzalez. I'm a mortgage broker with my loan choices, and welcome to the First Home Buyers Academy. All right, so before we go into John and Jane's case scenario today, I just want to recap in what we see in the last video. So we started going deeper into what the lenders look when they assess a home loan application. So we started with the two main elements, which were the different eligible types of income, and also your living expenses and your existing debts, and how the minimum repayments on your existing debts will affect your borrowing capacity. So basically what the banks will do is they put these two elements together to calculate your borrowing capacity. So today I'm just going to introduce you to John and Jane. So John and Jane were a couple that I recently helped to buy the first home. They bought an apartment. They bought an apartment here in Melbourne. This is just a little bit of their scenario. So two adults, they have no kids. One of the applicants was earning 65,000. The other one was in 50,000. So not high income earners. They probably just in the like medium low income earners, and they were able to actually secure a property. Later on I'll explain what sort of property they secure. So what I'm going to show you now is how we calculated their income. So we started with the combined gross income. They both were employees. They both work in full-time jobs. One is just in admin role. The other one is kind of starting part-time nursing as well, and she's doing a little bit of overtime as well. So this is how it started. We calculated the gross income as 115,000 as eligible income. We took all the taxes on that income, and we got the after-tax income. In terms of living expenses, they had one credit card, $10,000 credit card, and they had a car loan. So we calculated that those minimum repayments on those two items. So they were paying, the credit limit on that card was 10,000. Most of the lenders at the moment, they take in a factor of 3.82% as the minimum repayment, the minimum monthly repayment. So they just calculate 3.82% of the limit, and that's the minimum monthly repayment. So if we multiply it by 12, that's $4,584 that we took as minimum repayments for the credit card in a year. Okay. Same with the car loan, they were making repayments of $500 times 12, $6,000 a year. And in terms of living expenses, we calculated that they were having living expenses, so just including food, transportation, utility bills, entertainment, any other living expenses, it was about $36,000 a year. So we calculated all these expenses, and we came across that they have a borrowing capacity. So they had a surplus of $48,000 a year. That $48,000 a year of surplus was that they had available to make as a monthly as a repayment for the new loan. So just converted into a monthly repayment, it was about $4,000. We calculate with different lenders, and we came across that they could borrow up to $681,000. How did we came across this number? Well, as a mortgage broker, I have access to all different banks. As you can see, some of these banks are the ones that you know already. So some of the brands, you know, the big banks, you know, Commonwealth Bank, ANZ, NAB, probably some of the medium tier lenders like Bank of Melbourne, Bankwest, and then some online lenders like AMP, ING, MiBank. So yeah, all of those lenders, they have different ways to calculate your borrowing capacity. So we start with the income. As I mentioned, Jane was working part-time as a nurse, and she was also doing overtime. With the overtime, some of the lenders will just change the income a little bit because it's not a consistent income. It's not something that you can get every single week in the same amount. So it's something that you do, for example, 1 week, yes, you work probably 3 more hours overtime, then the next week you do nothing, then 3 weeks later you do 5 hours, and so on. So we need to look at what the average is. How much are you reporting the pay slips? We can annualize. We need to have at least 3 months history, and that's what we did. So some of the lenders will take on the overtime 100%. Some of the lenders will take just 50%, and some of the lenders will take nothing in overtime. So that was one of the reasons borrowing capacity changes from lender to lender. So we can see Suncorp, for example, was the lowest borrowing capacity for John and Jane with 487,000, and Bank of Queensland and Virgin Money, they came with the highest borrowing capacity at 681,000. So massive difference between one and the other. But basically, overtime was one of the factors. It changed from one lender to the other. The other factor as well is the assessment rate. So some of the lenders, you know the rates are very low at this stage. We can get very competitive rates in terms of variable, principal and interest for first home buyers. You can get rates from 2.7% to 2.9%. That's probably normal. If you want to fix the rates, then we look at fixed rates from 2.09. So they're very cheap at the moment, very low interest rates. But what the banks look when they assess your application is they actually want to make sure that you can make your repayments in a higher interest rate. So they assess the application not on the actual rate, which is 2 point something. They actually have every single lender has different assessment rates. So, and those assessment rates could vary from 5.4% to 8%. And that's one of the reasons as well it changed your borrowing capacity from one lender to the other. The other factor as well is, so as you see, credit cards. So most of the lenders at this stage, they take a 3.82% of the credit card limit to make up for your monthly repayment. Some of the lenders will look a little bit lower, 3% only, so that changed a little bit. And the other aspect as well is, depending on the lender, they have like an average monthly living expenses for different applicants. So if you're a single applicant, they use X amount of money as the minimum expense. If you're a couple, they use X amount of money, and so on. So that's different from every lender. The average that they look at as minimum living expenses, if they have an average, let's say as a couple, 2,800 for living expenses as an average. Let's say you are really good and not spending too much money, and you come with your real living expenses are 2,500. What the lender do is they make the assessment on your loan application on 2,800 monthly living expenses. So yeah, those are some of the reasons why living expenses affect as well your borrowing capacity. And you can see for John and Jane, it was a massive difference. With Suncorp, 487,000 was the maximum borrowing capacity. With Bank of Queensland and Virgin Money, $681,000. So massive difference. So we need to calculate, make sure that we look your maximum eligible income, living expenses as well, and look at your options. Look at your options as well on the property. Yeah, we do some more calculations. We will come back to John and Jane case scenario in the next few videos. But look, just for for this one. I hope you have enjoyed this video. We are gonna go next and look at the savings. So the next thing that banks will look into your loan application is your savings, and that's gonna be on our next video. Please feel free to give me a call, send me an email, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.